I first knew you as an editor, so
Yeah.
executive editor at Harpers. Yes, you had a book by then written, Second Nature, right?
Mm-hmm.
That was 1991.
Yeah, I wrote that while I was an editor at Harpers. I was kind of moonlighting.
Okay.
And I worked nights and weekends. And
So that goes to my question. When did you know, I mean, were you hoping or planning on a writing career all along, or did that just sort of...
No. I didn't think it was a realistic ambition to be a writer. I didn't know anyone who made a living as a writer. It just seemed so implausible. And I loved writing. I did it in school. I worked on the literary magazine. I was both the movie and the dining critic of my high school paper, but it was mostly to get dates paid for. And but editing seemed like something you could get paid for, and you could have a salary, and you could have a job, and so I gravitated toward magazines, and I love magazines. So while I was at Harper's, and I was there for 10 years, I started writing this series of essays about my garden. And so when I decided to leave Harper's and become a writer full time, which happens a couple years later in 93 or 4, that was a big leap.
Here's where I was going next in my question.
Yeah.
How scary was that?
Really scary because Judith is an artist, as you know, so she doesn't have a steady source of income. I had a book advance when I left, but I was already way behind on it, but was really committed to writing. And that was a fork in the road. Was I going to be an editor and wait around at Harper's in hopes of maybe becoming the editor-in-chief at some point, because I was ostensibly in line for that, or was I going to be a writer? And with Judith's help, I went down the latter path, but that meant changing our life radically. We left New York.
Is that when you went to Connecticut?
We moved to Connecticut, which had been our weekend house, because one of the keys to making it as a writer is keeping your monthly expenses as low as possible, as you know.
Yeah. Does a really good writer need the ability to be in doubt and uncertainty so that you don't pigeonhole yourself and you stay open to new...
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a powerful quality for any writer, because the interesting subjects are full of ambiguity and contradiction, and that the subjects that you can come up with a clear point of view and absolute opinion tend to be a little dull. And it was one of the things I really liked about doing long-form journalism at the Times Magazine, as we both did. We were working for an editor there, Jerry Marzorati, who was not afraid when pieces went to that ambiguous place or ambivalent place. He liked that, and he would always... I would say, I'm really not sure how this turns out, whether this is a good thing or a bad thing. And he said, well, that's fine. You don't have to.
You must have been a little taken aback at just how much the food writing caught on and catapulted.
Yeah.
So to now move into the area of like Intelligent Planet and now your next book, were you getting a little claustrophobic? Like, I don't want to be just known as Mr. Food Writer. Was there some of that?
Yeah, I mean, it's funny. There's a couple things going on there. One is I don't like to write as an expert. I think that's a boring stance, and I think that's the fault of a lot of nonfiction books. I really like dramatizing the learning process.
The discovery.
Several of my books have the subtitle Education, and they're all educations. But you can't have an education if you know the answers already.
Yeah, that's right.
And I think the reader identifies much more with the amateur or the person learning. They will go on that journey with you. So that was one reason. The other was the food journalism is a very crowded space. When I started, it wasn't at all. And it was wonderful being in a space without a lot of people. And I've put myself in such a space again. And so I like starting from scratch. I don't write about exotic things for the most part. I write about things, food right in front of you, plants in the garden.
Steak on the plate.
Yeah, but there are amazing stories behind these ordinary things that we take for granted. And so I am kind of a expert on the obvious.